Hi everyone, and welcome to the lead-in phase. So this is a short video just to run through what lead-in is all about, and without further ado, what is lead-in? So lead-in is basically a block which is designed to get you up to speed and get you up and running and ready for the actual kind of main training sessions, main training blocks which are to come in the future. The lead-in is generally 4 weeks long, and it's pretty straightforward. You'll find the sessions are fairly easy to follow, are largely based around feel rather than actually being really prescriptive in terms of training zones. So you really just kind of get stuck in and start getting used to the process really. What is included in the lead-in phase are a certain amount of benchmark tests. Now the idea of these is that they kind of effectively draw a line in the sand. So we can figure out where exactly you are at this moment in time, and also will allow you to calculate your training zones which you'll be needing for further into the training as you get further along. All right, so you'll be doing a swim test, a bike test and a run test. They're nothing to worry about. You just do the best you can, and obviously as we progress, or as you progress through your training, then you'll be doing them again to see, to monitor your progress. So you'll see the details of actually what's involved in the actual training, with the lead-in training program itself, but just to give you a bit of an overview there. First of all, be patient. This is a new process to most of you, so it will take you a while to get used to the terminology. Don't expect overnight improvements. These things don't happen overnight. It will be once you get into the weeks and the months that you'll start to see the real improvements starting to show themselves. So be patient with it. Try not to get frustrated. Just jumping ahead a little bit there in relation to that and being patient. If you do have any things you're not sure about, then ask questions in the support group, and either one of the coaches will answer it for you, or one of your commit peers will come along and no doubt offer you some words of advice as well. So be patient and ask questions. We're being asked all the time about whether or not you can do more or you can do less on this particular block. Well, both really. Anyone on commit will start off on this particular block because it's almost like a teething block, if you like, when you get used to things. If you're used to doing a little bit more, then maybe, yeah, you can go a little bit longer on the endurance sessions. But all I'll say to you is that take one step at a time, take 1 week at a time, and try not to achieve too much too soon. But yeah, it's your training program. If you want to do a little bit more, then do a little bit more. But just be mindful that if you do too much, then it may affect the quality and your ability to do training sessions which are coming later on in the week. Similarly, if you want to do less, what we've done is we've marked into the training program the key sessions. So they're the ones that we kind of expect you to do as a minimum. They're normally the ones which are absolutely the kind of vital building blocks of the training program. So try and do those if you can. But effectively, we know that for some of you, this will be a little bit more than what you're used to doing. So if you can't manage it all, just do the best you can. If you can't run training, if you can't run the whole run, for example, then run and walk. And as the weeks progress, you'll be able to run a little bit more and walk a little bit less. But just do the best you can to complete the session. Yeah, as it says on the list there, you can't swim, bike or run for that long. Yeah, same with the swimming sessions. Try and complete the swimming sessions as best you can, or with at least try and for as long as you've got time available for, then just do the best you can. And again, be patient, stick with it, and over the weeks and months, then you will see that fitness improve. So feel free to add to sessions. Feel free to take away from sessions to a degree, but again, just be careful about how much you're adding and how much you're taking away, because they are designed for a specific reason and in a particular order, which kind of brings me on to the next one, which is moving sessions. Yeah, you can move sessions around. Again, it's your training program. You can move sessions, but they are put together in a particular order for a reason, so that there shouldn't be too much intensity back to back, and there's rest in there at appropriate times. So of course, if you start shuffling things around, it can affect how the next session will make you feel, and you'll potentially get a spike in load in one particular part of the week. So again, yeah, feel free to move them, but just be mindful that we don't want to be kind of overloading days if you push everything back to the end of the week, for example. Generally, the rule for us is if you can't do a session for any particular reason, let it go, take the rest, and then move on to the next session really positively. Don't try and concertina everything towards the end of the week. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so just moving on to kit. Obviously, there's a lot of kit involved in training, and a lot of kit involved in triathlon. So I'm just going to run through some things on here, just kind of run through which things we think are more important than others. So hopefully you've got some of these things. If not, then there's go and rush out and buy what you need. So we're going to start off with swim training aids. You will need a set of fins, and we use the Finnish floating fins. We usually get them from Amazon. They're usually about £20. I'll put some links in the description below, so hopefully you'll be able to find your way through to those. A tempo trainer, Finnish tempo trainer. That's a little yellow gadget which we use for swim training. We are doing a separate swim training video, so if you want to know a little bit more about that, then obviously watch that video, which is going to be later on in the week. So Finnish tempo trainer, same thing on Amazon. Hand paddles. Again, I think you should watch the swim video for that, because we'll go into hand paddles in a little bit more detail, because they're all sorts of different shapes and sizes. We want to make sure that you get the right ones from day one. So hand paddles, swim cap. Swim cap's been included purely because that's what's going to hold your tempo trainer on the side of your head, which is where they go. They sit underneath your cap and you can hear them beeping away. So a swim cap. If you're in the squads, then obviously you'll get a cap as part of that anyway, but you will need a swimming cap. Lots of pools require you to wear them at the moment anyway. Also, pool buoy. If you don't know what a pool buoy is, then it's a piece of foam which effectively goes between your legs and keeps your bum and your hips up when you're swimming. And we use them for all sorts of training, all sorts of swim training and all sorts of drills. So make sure you get yourself a pool buoy, but again, watch the swim video for a bit more detail on that. So obviously it goes without saying, you need the other things, the swimming costume and the goggles, and I think that's pretty much it. What's really good actually, if you get yourself a mesh bag or something like that to keep all your gear together and keep it so it doesn't get all soggy and gets a chance to air a little bit. Okay, next thing then, heart rate monitor. So you need to be able to record the training that you're doing. Ideally, you're going to get much more value out of it. So most people will have something like a Garmin Forerunner, or a Sunto watch. There's various different types of training watch out there. If you're not sure, and before you press the kind of buy button on the website on your your internet browsing, then ask a question on the group and we'll point you in the right direction of the right type of watch to get. But you will need something to time your training, and ideally something with a heart rate monitor, so that we can monitor, or you can monitor the effort level in your training sessions. So maybe that's something we go into a little bit more detail in, but feel free to ask questions. But most people have the Garmin Forerunner or something very similar to that. Power meter is on there because, again, if you have a power meter, that's great. We're not expecting you to rush out and buy one because they are expensive, but for your bike training, a power meter can be invaluable, and we will be doing training zones based on power. If you haven't got a power meter, then you can train based on heart rate. If you haven't got a heart rate monitor or a power meter, then you can train based on rate of perceived exertion, and there's a separate video on that as well. All right, so if you can afford it, money's no issue, then absolutely get yourself a power meter. Same as the heart rate monitor. Ask some questions on the group, and we'll give you some advice about which kind of power meter we recommend. Next one, trainers. Obviously, you're going to be doing some running. Running is the one area that gets most people injured. All right, so you need to really look after yourself when you're running, and that starts with a really good pair of proper running shoes. The amount of time I've seen people running in gym shoes and squash shoes and tennis shoes and all sorts of things, you get away with it once or twice, but you're going to head for a fall if you keep on wearing shoes like that. So get yourself some good quality running shoes. Unfortunately, they're not cheap, and they're kind of 100 quid plus at least, unless you get some in the sales, of course. Look at brands like Asics and Brooks, On. Who else is there? Adidas, Nike, that kind of thing. But again, make sure they're proper running shoes, not these fashion type shoes. And once you find a pair of shoes that works, stick with it. Stick with it. Go for a shoe which is going to be comfortable and is going to be good for your training, not so much which looks amazing. Not so important that. Garmin I've already spoken about. In relation to bike computers, then either the Garmin bike computers are good or Wahoo, a lot of people are using now, separate to the watch. You can use your GPS watch if you have one for your cycling as well, but I think once you get into your training, you'll probably want a separate bike computer. So something like the Edge 530, or there's a Edge 130. There's lots of them out there now, so just do some research and find something which suits your budget, and again, ask some questions if you're not sure on that. Finally on the list there is Turbo Trainer. So Turbo Trainers are things that you attach your bike to, so you can do indoor bike training. We're coming up to winter now, the weather's going to be rubbish, and a good quality Turbo Trainer, in fact any Turbo Trainer which works fairly well will suffice, but lots of people get what they call smart trainers now, where the trainer will actually control the resistance, and you can connect up to things like Zwift online training and things like that as well. So Turbo Trainer is something that you certainly will need to consider, because if it's pouring down with rain and you've got a bike session to do, then it's going to certainly come in handy if you can stay indoors and do your bike session. We do recommend people do a certain amount of their training on the Turbo anyway, because they're really good quality sessions, really good quality intervals and things you can do indoors. But again, if you haven't got one and you're happy to ride outdoors, then that's fine too. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for this video. So short and sweet, a little introduction. Again, lead in, be patient, just go with it for the first few weeks, ask your questions, let's get these teething problems out of the way, let's get your training sessions uploaded, and let's just get stuck into it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. We will be releasing lots of these videos along the way. There's also videos embedded into the rest of your training program, so make sure that you watch those, and also like our posts if you can, because it'll help us on YouTube to get a bit more visibility, and also follow us so that you find out when the new videos are being posted. But I think that's it for now, and I shall see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.